My name is Doug McCain, and it's time for the Rams to F them picks and go make another blockbuster move.
What it do, squad? It's your boy Brock, and can we get 2 dominant victories in a row?
And I'm Gavin Carlson, and look, the bye week is done. We got a nice schedule up ahead. Let's just go make a Super Bowl run, baby. Let's do it.
Whose house? Rams house. It's the Rams squad. Everything Los Angeles Rams, every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels, the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Here comes the Rampede. The Rams Squad Show starts now.
Yes, it does. What is going on, Ramley? And welcome back to another edition, a long-awaited return of the Rams Squad Show. The Mob Squad is back. It's been a minute, all right? Our Rams had a bye. We watched a couple teams in the NFL expose themselves as frauds while we were sitting on our couches. But it's time for Rams football coming back at you. We got a nice Friday morning Halloween edition. So happy Halloween to those who celebrate. I know D-Mac is going to be in Toronto, seeing if his Dodgers can turn things around. As the only Dodgers hater maybe on this show, I've been quite happy with what we've seen so far from the World Series. But we're here to talk about the Rams, okay? The Rams coming off a dominant win in London, then a bye week, and now they get the Saints. They get the debut or the official first start of Tyler Shuck. We'll get into that. But we have to start with the trade deadline, what the Rams did over the bye week, and how they can move forward and try to win a Super Bowl. But enough yap. The Mob Squad is here. It's been a minute. Big Brock, how is life treating you?
Been good, man. Just getting ready to get back into the season after the bye week. Let's go get us a dub.
Yes, sir. Later in the show, I'm going to grill you on what a bye week is like under Sean McVay and the Rams organization. But the busiest man in sports right now, D-Mac, again, my condolences. I know there's a shot you guys can turn this around. As the Dodgers hater, I'm just very happy. But how's life outside of Dodgerville?
Life is great. I just want to say, too, that when the Rams make the Super Bowl, when the Rams are in the Super Bowl this year, that Gavin is going to be performing at halftime. Here's Gavin right here. AKA, look at Here's Gavin in his Bad Bunny costume. Bad Bunny, VIP, hey, VIP. Come on. So, yeah, just so you know, we started this show, and Gavin had a full beard on with the shades. He had to do some hair and makeup just to get ready for this show. So, Gavin, I'm so excited to see you. Brock will be on the sideline. I'll be up in the press box, and you'll be at the 50-yard line performing. So that's it. We're all gonna contribute to the Super Bowl this year when the Rams get there.
Man, I have never regret sending a photo into the group chat so much in my life. Oh my God. Oh, D-Mac got me. Oh, he got me. Oh. Hopefully,
for the podcast listener, that was a picture. Again, if you're a podcast listener that has not subscribed to the show on YouTube, now's the number one reason why. So you can see Gavin in his Bad Bunny costume. Go over on our YouTube to watch that.
Unbelievable. I'll try to think of a segue. Hopefully, the Rams can be playing at that Super Bowl that Bad Bunny's performing at. That was good. You got me. But the Mob Squad is back. We're already on that shiz. We're laughing and having a good time. But let's talk about the Rams. They were busy during their bye week. Obviously going out and making a trade, getting a corner, and now more talks of more trades with Tutu Atwell going down. D-Mac, I know you've covered it on the Daily Show a little bit, but just in case there's some people who want a little bit more about the Rams going and saying F them picks and acquiring a corner, what do you think of the move?
I think it was a really good move. And when we look at Roger McCreary as a corner, he's not this superstar Sauce Gardner. People were trying to link the Rams with some bigger name cornerbacks. The truth is you can't buy a house that's not for sale. Not a lot of impact corners available that would be worth giving up a first-round pick for. But McCreary is a really interesting player because he has that versatility that the Rams covet. He can play in the slot. He can play on the outside. He's done a little bit of both. He's not a guy that has a ton of interceptions in his career that turns the ball over, but he's physical. He can play in this scheme. And I think, too, just overall, we look at the play of Emmanuel Forbes. He has been one of the least productive cornerbacks in the NFL. Darius Williams dealing with the shoulder injury. Akella Witherspoon, you're not going to get him back until week 14 or 15, coming back off that broken clavicle. So Kobe Durant's had some ups and downs too. But I think that in Chris Shula's system, 5'11", 190 pounds. I think he can do something. I think that Rams fans are going to quickly find out that, hey, this was an upgrade, and the Rams are better in the secondary after the bye, and that was a weakness that they had, and they addressed it. So, and another thing, too, I mean, you're talking about a very minimal exchange when it comes to 5th round, 6th round. Basically, the Rams are going to be picking at the end of the 6th round. Now the Titans will be picking at the beginning of the 5th round. So it's not like you gave up the farm to go get a guy that's going to help you in a lot of different ways. And yeah, I like this guy. I really do. More I watch him, more I learn about him, I think he's someone that is going to have an impact for this team.
Yeah, and he certainly is probably thrilled to be joining a contender given what he was facing previously. Big Brock, what's it like? I mean, I know you probably haven't had this experience, but being the NFL stud on here that you are, what is it probably like joining a defense middle of the season? I would imagine it's easier than joining an offense. You don't need to learn necessarily this entire complex playbook. Like, hey, just go out there and you're a corner, right? It's either you're playing man, cover 2, cover 3, or cover 4, right? Like, is there really anything else for that, or is it going to take him some time maybe to get into the flow of things with the Rams defense under Chris Shula?
Man, you're absolutely right, Gavin. I mean, it's more about just knowing the language. It's not about knowing cover 2, because like you said, there's only so many coverages you can really run on defense. And usually it's just all about, learning the verbiage and which you guys is, cover 2 word. What is your, top hat, whatever these signals are, learning the language of the defense. I think that's the biggest part. But as you stated earlier, too, I know he's going to feel a lot better playing out there when he's playing with a contender versus somebody that was going to be home in January. So for me, it's I know as a player that, especially on the last year of his deal, this is a go-get-it season for him. Right. So if he's playing with a contender and he can make some plays now, he may be, able to take advantage of maybe this possibly 1 year with the Rams.
Yeah, and I think that's the word that I've been thinking too, as far as just getting that bump with the Rams, is being on a contender just changes the outlook of your season. When the Rams pick, there's no one random on the Rams. I always kind of say there's no one random on the Rams. If you're on this team, if you're in this building, you're here for a reason, because they think that either they can elevate you or that you have not been optimized where you're at. And this is the guy that was the 35th overall pick in the 22 NFL draft. He was a 2nd round pick, and I think he's a diamond in the rough. I really do. And I think you look at the fact that he can play on the boundary, can play in the nickel, can play in the slot. And I think, too, another motivating factor on top of just being on a team that has Super Bowl aspirations and that they have a very, very specific need for, is that, like you mentioned, Brock, this guy is in a contract year. And that, to me, is you talk about PEDs, that's the ultimate PED for a player. That's getting paid.
Right.
And for him to know that you're on a Rams team that has the 4th most cap space projected for this offseason, and guys like Akella Witherspoon and Kobe Durant who aren't going to be around most likely, this is someone I think this is not only okay, can you fill in and be a missing piece of a puzzle in 2025, but also this is an audition, right? This is LA, is Hollywood, right? If he nails his audition, I think that this is a player that the Rams would consider inking longer than just this year. So I think that's another thing they really like about him too, is not just now, but it's for the future as well.
Yeah, and I think there's a great opportunity for him as well, given kind of the state of the corner room, like you're saying, with, next year it being empty. But even right now, like, you're joining a room that has solid players, but no alpha. So you can step in and become the alpha, right? It won't be right away, but maybe you're starting in the slot and then maybe you end up on the outside. But you could, if you told me by the end of the season, he is the guy that we're trying to shadow the best wide receiver with, I wouldn't be surprised. At the same time, if you told me, hey, he's reserved to only being in the slot, I wouldn't be surprised with that either, because it really does feel like there's a huge variance, a huge range in terms of how this could end up. I don't want to, again, and I know D-Mac's going to say, hey, you don't need to preface this every time you say it when I come in here and maybe do something negative. But D-Mac, Brock, is there a part of you that when you saw this move, I don't know about you guys, but when I saw this move, my immediate reaction was, oh, nice. The Rams went and got a corner right after Sean McVay maybe hinted at not wanting to trade for a corner. Okay, good. They realized it was a need. But then my mind kind of went, wait, so we went and got a corner. So that obviously doesn't mean we're going to get another. And we didn't maybe acquire a huge name corner, a game-breaking corner. And then I kind of went, I don't know if I love this, right? Obviously, it's better than nothing, but am I lame for saying it's just better than nothing and we could have gotten more? Or is that a valid, opinion to have? Because I know other Rams fans have it.
So I would say to that and Brock knows this very well, is if the Rams are going to take a big swing, like it's literally for the best players in the game. Like it is literally for Jalen Ramsey. It's literally for Von Miller. If those guys aren't available, if it's not a Sauce Gardner, right? If it's not a Patrick Surtain, if it's not one of those top 5 top tier guys that are available, they're not going to part ways with their top assets. They're not going to consider parting ways with a first round pick or a second round pick. They're only going to save that stuff for the top tier dudes when they become available, because they're going to stay opportunistic. And I think that one thing about the Rams, and you talk about the Von Miller trade, no one saw that one coming because no one thought that was necessarily the most pressing need. But the thing about the Rams is they're always going to just hang around. And if someone becomes available and there's an opportunity there, they're going to jump on that, right? And I think that they're going to let that market emerge. But as far as this cornerback, they too are a group that you're not going to ask your corners to do things that some other defenses are going to do, right? This team's strength is in their pass rush, and it's also now in their linebacking core with Nate Landman and guys like Quentin Lake. So you don't necessarily need a 10 out of 10 at every single position on this defense. And if there's kind of one position group that you can kind of lean back off, is the cornerback spot. But here's the thing, though. I mean, they got better. I mean, the truth is McCreary, I mean, you always say you got to take those PFF grades with a grain of salt. But, I mean, he's the 36th ranked cornerback out of 113 qualified cornerbacks. I mean, when teams have 2 starting cornerbacks and you're 36, I mean, that definitely is solid. And would he be 36 on the Rams? I mean, he could maybe crack the top 20, right? And there's a lot of people that are really high on McCreary. As far as will they go for a bigger move, that remains to be seen. But I do think that the fact they addressed this before even the November 4th deadline came around, they didn't wait to the last minute, I think was another solid reason too, right? I mean, they kind of took care of their business a little early. They kind of did their Christmas shopping like, when you do it like in August and September. I do mine like on December 24th, right? So they kind of took advantage of that as well. So, hey, I think we got to kind of bring up too is, what does it say about Emmanuel Forbes? Like, is this a failed experiment? They picked him up on waivers. They were hoping to develop him. He's really, really struggled this season. He just has not met expectations. And yes, we're not even through a full season with him, but I think this is another indication that maybe they're kind of admitting a little bit that he's not the guy that they hoped he would have been.
Yeah, fair. I mean, Brock, remember a couple times you rightfully bring it up how, yes, like D-Mac said, we go and get the big fishes when they're available, but this team finds diamonds in the rough, right? We keep saying Landman, every week, right? I know that's your guy, right? Diamonds in the rough, diamonds in the rough. I guess Emmanuel Forbes was one of those diamonds in the rough that wasn't a diamond, and you kind of swung and missed. Like, at some point, do you have to accept that that's a miss and try to find another diamond in the rough, or do you stop finding diamonds or trying to find diamonds in the rough and go, I don't know what the analogy is, go swim with the sharks, go get a big dog, right? Stop going in the rough, right? Like, at what point do you maybe just try to go swim, because the clock is running as much as we don't want to admit it. Like, this is a winner now season, and it feels like if there's ever a year to go do it, it's when, like D-Mac said, the cap space in the summer is going to be a lot more, manageable. Why not go make a move on a guy on an expiring deal, or even someone that you might owe some money in years, beyond this year, knowing you'll have space? Big Brock, like, does a big trade in the middle of the season give a boost to a roster? Like, is this feel like a missed opportunity just going kind of mediocre in terms of an acquisition?
I mean, I think like Doug said, if the Rams are going to do it, they're going to do it big. They're not going to kind of, halfway do it. They're going to do it. They're going to go to the top 5 corners, after the top 5. And since those weren't available, I think this just was the best move for the Rams. I mean, I think they got a solid cornerback on his 5th year. Like you said, that's kind of like a PED for players when they're trying to prove it, like a make it, prove it season. He's trying to make plays all over the place. And then now he has a little bit more energy now that he's on a team more than 500, and that's pretty much contending in the NFC. I think he'll play up to that level, if not better. I think Emmanuel Forbes, like you said, it was probably a project that, maybe is not working like everybody else expected, but for the Rams, I think he's doing what he needs to do. Obviously, hey, cornerback is a tough position to play. People don't really realize that you're on an island, and whenever a play is made on you, it's highlighted 10 times because either it's for a touchdown or somebody's, breaking a tackle and running. So I think people got to give my man a little slack, man. Cornerback is a hard position. Obviously, if you're getting paid millions, you expect the best and you want the best. But I mean, as far as is he doing his job? Are they winning games? I can say yes at this point of the season.
Yeah, and I'm definitely playing devil's advocate a little bit because at the end of the day, you didn't really give up anything, and you got a guy who still has improvement to be made, like still has an upside, but the floor isn't that low, right? Like he's like D-Mac said, he's already slots in and ranks pretty respectably. Not to mention, he still is just 25 years old and still hasn't been on a competent roster and competent coaching staff, right? We can't forget that. Like there's so many times players come from these teams that are awful and they just go on a team that's run competently with a head coach like Sean McVay and Chris Shula, and they find second life. And there's no reason he couldn't do that. D-Mac, is there any scenario ever where the Rams go acquire another defender at the deadline, or is this certainly that's it, right? Like the only other talk on acquisition would be a receiver, right?
I mean, I think, look, I mean, you talk about your New Orleans Saints, right? I mean, Chris Olave would be really interesting, someone like that. Or, I mean, we'll talk about some other guys as possible options. But I think it really comes down to when it really comes down to every player has a price, right? And there was some talk, could Thibodeau be available? Could Trey Hendrickson be available? Now it's like we get close to the deadline and teams aren't really that serious about parting ways with some of their top dogs, even though they're having losing seasons. But I think you look at the Rams that, yes, they're willing to pay a big price for certain players, but they also kind of like to buy that Halloween candy the day after Halloween, right? When it's a little discounted, you can kind of get it on sale. And they don't like to overpay. They like to win the trade. And we saw that with the Jalen Ramsey. We saw that with Von Miller. We saw with a lot of moves they made. I mean, Marcus Peters back in the day. I mean, they usually win these deals. Another thing that's looming that you have to mention with the Rams is the quarterback situation, because we know that Matthew Stafford is playing at an MVP level. He's picked to be an all-pro this deep into the season. But the truth is that at the very best, you're probably going to get one more year of Matthew Stafford. And even then, how productive is he? I still think you can still get 2 really good quality years out of Stafford, including this one, even beyond, really, if he wants to play and he stays healthy. But the truth is, when it comes to quarterback position, look at the top 10, look at the top 15 guys. Those guys are drafted, right? I mean, unless you want Sam Darnold or guys like that, you're not going to find them in free agency. And they have those 2 top picks. They have those first-round picks. And even though there hasn't been any breakout guys, the Arch Manning hasn't been the guy that everyone billed him to be. You don't have that big standout quarterback just yet. But I still think that they are keeping draft picks to look for Matthew Stafford's successor, right? So, I mean, they kind of pulled off the exception with the Matthew Stafford trade. And, look, Joe Burrow would look great in a Rams uniform, right? I mean, who knows if they could do something like that again, get a guy that has underperformed because he's not in a great organization. But the way you pull off trades like that is you keep that war chest and you only spend it on premium position, edge rusher and quarterback and things like that. So I think that's another reason why. Another thing too, just like guys on this team have performed. I mean, you mentioned Nate Landman. Like, I mean, he's been a better signing than Devontae Adams so far. And I don't think that's going to be like that for the rest of the year. But I mean, look, how about this? Would you guys consider a Breece Hall if he became available? I mean, with the Jets part ways with him. I mean, that's the thing. It's not the big needle mover that you would want to overpay for. And that's, I think, why the Rams are getting guys like a McCreary's, and you'll kind of make those under the radar moves because you're kind of thinking big picture, but also that guy isn't there that's really going to take you over the top.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I don't know about you, Brock, but D-Mac had me at the edge of my seats when he said quarterback. I'm like, is he going to suggest we go acquire a quarterback? I was like, what? No way he's about to do that. But then, no, it makes perfect sense. Like, as much as I'm sitting here saying, let's go buy this, go buy that. D-Mac's like, hey, we got to protect some of these assets for a year from now or 2 years from now when you got to go make the big move. And you're absolutely right. And I know that Joe Burrow dream is in the back of your brain every day you wake up and you think about it a little bit. And I don't blame you, because that would be pretty darn amazing in a couple of years. And I guess it's days like these where you need to remember it's not just one season. As much as you want it to just be this season and just go win the Super Bowl this year, this is a franchise that has to plan for the future. I get it.
And you're a Saints fan. I'm just kidding. That's your side team. Okay, we all have our side teams, right? You got your side teams that you just kind of. It's not like you root for them, but it's like you have family members that are fans of that team, that kind of stuff. So you just kind of like are more in tune. For me, it's like all my fantasy players. I mean, they're like my family members. Like all the guys are my fantasy teams. I root for them. But a guy like a Shaheed, right? A Rashid Shaheed. I mean, just talking to people that cover the Saints and just over the last week, they're telling me you could get him for a 4th round pick. And that to me is interesting. I mean, we're talking 4th and 5th round picks for guys that could have a very specific role on this team. I mean, that's interesting to me. A guy like a Rashid Shaheed. I don't know if you guys have seen any of these rumors that have the Rams linked to a guy like Mark Andrews with the recent play of Tyler Higbee and maybe upgrading the tight end position. I feel less inclined about that. But I mean, with Tutu deal with the hamstring injury and the Rams is continuing to spread the ball around, Rashid Shaheed does some things that could really help this offense in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's a lot of interesting trade targets on the offensive side of the ball. I think we probably all agree, unless Brock, you disagree. Do you think there's any chance that the Rams go acquire another defender, or is it really only on the offensive side of the ball now after the McCrary trade?
I mean, you know what? I think this Rams organization, I think that front office and the staff, they are very smart. They love playing chess. They don't like playing checkers, man. So they always make the smartest move for their team. So I look at a guy like McCreary as, oh, this is a piece to the puzzle that they needed. I mean, they wouldn't go acquire a guy if they didn't, need to do that or trade that pick. They would have used it on something else. So if you see a move, whatever move that they make, they feel like it's going to be the betterment for the team. So I'm not nervous at all. I don't think they'll go for a defender. I think, definitely if there was an opportunity to get somebody, it'll be somebody on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get more chess, not checkers, than McVay coming out a couple weeks ago and saying, we ain't trading for no corner. And me saying, right. D-Mac, how could he say that? And D-Mac going, hey, I don't know. I think he's just, playing chess. And surely there he is. He goes and makes the move for the corner. We're going to take our break. When we come back, we are going to talk Tutu Atwell and his injury and if there is a move that needs to be made on the offensive side of the ball as a result. Then we'll do a little Brock talks. I want to talk about the NFL bye week life under Sean McVay and how that might affect the Rams, kind of an older team, at least in a couple positions, how that's going to affect the Rams going into the second half of the season. And then we will talk about the upcoming matchup against the Saints. Should it be a blowout? Is it a sneaky trap game? We'll get to all of that after our break here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. We'll be right back. Now, today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. It is always a great time to talk about PrizePicks because I don't know about you, I make decisions every day on PrizePicks. Being right can get you paid, though. You don't want to miss any of the excitement of the sports season now that the NBA started, the NHL started. We still got baseball underway. So come on now. What are you doing? Try PrizePicks. It's the simplest way to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. And if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Today's show is also brought to you by Mazda. Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, they move culture, and they keep moving the game forward. This week, it wasn't a play that moved things forward. It was the trade deadline so far what the Rams have done, going out and getting a corner. Obviously, we're talking about if the Rams are going to go do more, but that was the Rams' way of moving things forward on a bye week. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Ram Squad Show is back on Locked On Rams YouTube channel and audio podcast feed. I already got exposed and embarrassed by D-Mac, one member of the Mob Squad, for my Halloween costume on this Halloween edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show. No, this was not an invite for you to go get it back out. Don't do it.
This is my new lock screen.
Oh, no.
My new lock screen, bro.
way.
Hey, you guys like it?
Oh, that is crazy. That is
What's
just
your lock screen?
crazy
Come on, man. It kind of goes hard, bro. Looking at the album. I mean, jeez, man. The Dodgers players love Bad Bunny too, so they'll respect it.
Oh my goodness. What do you say?
The Dodgers players all listen to Bad Bunny too, so they're gonna love that. You know
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if they're listening to Bad Bunny before their game, which will be tonight when people are watching this. What about you guys? Any Halloween plans? What is it looking like for you, Brock?
Taking the kids out. We go to this little local church and do a little trunk or treat there. So I'll just take my kids to that and have a nice little Halloween.
There you go. You dressing as anything, or are you just going to be, Rams legend Mike Brock?
I don't participate. I go as myself. I think that's the best. I wear that the best.
There you go. Hey, it's a pretty good life when you can be yourself for Halloween. And it's kind of theoretically being something that someone else would be for Halloween. Like, there's definitely been someone who's been Michael Brockers or certainly a Rams player for Halloween. Mm-hmm. Don't know if anyone's been Gavin Carlson or D-Mac for Halloween. What about you, D-Mac? What are you going to be?
Man, I just be dude. My costume.
You'll be watching a Dodgers game.
Not popping. Yeah. That's what I'll be doing. But I love me some Halloween. It's kind of snuck up on me this year. We'll see what's up. I mean, I don't really get a lot of trick or treaters here in Hollywood at my apartment, so it's kind of like not going down. But I will watch like The Exorcist. You know what I'm saying? Kind of weird.
Wow.
Like some scary. And I hate scary movies too. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'll are you a scary movie guy, Brock?
No, not at all, bro. You're more like sci-fi. I'm not a really scary movie type guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Hey, I respect it. I get it. I know that you got more important things than candy and trick or treating. You got the World Series. I get it. You're actually going to be in Toronto, right, D-Mac?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you won't even be able to
safe travels.
Yeah. You're going to be seeing what a Canadian Halloween is like, and hopefully for your sake, not in the middle of a championship parade on the way out, but we'll see, buddy. We'll see.
Those fans from Canada were crazy. They were singing like "Oh Canada" and like, the Blue Jays fans are getting crazy. Yeah, Drake. I don't know if you saw Drake trolling Ohtani on his Instagram.
Yeah, that's all he can do after getting swept and mopped by everything LA for the past year and a half in the rap battle. Right, this is the only way he can win, I guess. So, but yeah, we'll see. But hope everyone does have a nice Halloween weekend. But obviously, it'll be capped off by the Rams on Sunday taking on the Saints. We'll get into that towards the end of the show, like we always do. I'll remind everybody that I'm still dominating our predictions competition. Just had to put that out there. But we're going back to talking trade deadline because of the Tutu Atwell injury. Kind of an unfortunate one, right? A couple weeks removed from him having the big game-winning catch. Felt like maybe he was going to get some momentum, and then suddenly it's, where's Tutu, right? Like, he's not on the field. What's going on? And now the news gets worse and worse, and now there's people saying, do we need to go find a Tutu Atwell replacement? D-Mac brought up Rashid Shaheed. He mentioned that I have a bunch of family members that are diehard Saints fans. They certainly, I know quite a thing or two about a Rashid Shaheed, would be an interesting option. But my question, I'll start with both of you, is do the Rams need to replace Tutu Atwell? Like, he's had a couple catches, but let's not act like this is a guy we've been using all season. Why can't we just maybe use a Terrence Ferguson more in the passing game? Why can't we maybe just use a Jordan Whittington more in the passing game? Why can't we maybe just use a Konate Mumfield or, a guy like that who's on the roster already? Do we need to go make a move for a receiver?
I would say need, probably not. I mean, this team can still win this division, finish the top 2 seed. All their goals would still be attainable without a trade. But I think if you are looking to feature Tutu, I mean, it's not like it's a season-ending injury anyway, but if you aren't going to use him, and they have not used him, I mean, this is the truth. I mean, this is a guy that he wasn't 100% against the Jags, but he played a season-low 10 snaps. This year, even when he's been healthy, he's only played 50% of the team's offensive snaps once this season in a game. I mean, think about that. That is like very minimal usage for a guy you gave $10 million to, a guy that had that play you mentioned against the Colts where shook his guy, beat him deep. And really, it's no matter what happens with him, it feels like the conversation always reverts to either whose fault is it? Sean McVay not putting him in situations and not having packages for him to be a part of this offense, or is it Tutu Atwell, whatever reason, not proving to these coaches that he demands to be featured? And I think what he brings to this offense is essentially he's being used as a decoy to clear guys out. He's the clear out player, right? And what he brings, though, is his average depth of target, almost 30 yards at 28.6 yards. That still leads the team. And if you're looking for a guy to do those things in your offense, you don't think it's going to be Tutu Atwell, that would be the reason to find a guy to go trade for. I mean, because clearly that's something that they won their offense, to have someone to clear out and have a vertical presence in some way.
Yeah, maybe I don't want to be disrespectful. I know there's a, I don't want to be the guy who's, again, never played this sport. I'm sitting next to an NFL guy and this, but like a lot of people can do what Tutu Atwell's done for the Rams. Come on, you just run straight, right? Like you just said, you run straight, you clear out space. We're not asking him, as much as we would want him to be a Tyreek Hill of, the Chiefs era, or, a guy like a Zay Flowers or something. Like, we are not asking him to do that. We are asking him to run straight and clear out space. And we keep bringing up one catch that was made because it's the only catch that was made of note, right? Like, so I don't necessarily think we need to go make a move. If you go and get a Rashid Shaheed, you go and get a Marvin Mims as one name I've seen, or a Jacoby Myers isn't really the same mold, but something like that. Like, if you're going to go make a trade for that, you better actually use the guy, because you're already pissing us all off by giving him $10 million and not using him. You better not then go use a draft pick on someone else to replace him and then not use him. Like, Brock, I'm not just being disrespectful, right? When I say, I don't think it's Tutu's fault, but we're just asking him to run cardio, like D-Mac said. So why in the world are we going to go use draft capital for someone else to run cardio?
Man, it's hard to understand like why they don't use him the way that they should, or because he's such a smaller player, gadget type guy. Like, maybe there isn't enough balls on the field. Like, let's be honest with you, there's only one ball, and Puka has to get 10 to 12, 10 to 15, touches. Devontae deserves his touches. You got to give it the run game their touches. I just don't think it's only one ball on the field, and if the star players are touching the ball, I don't think they'll ever have a guy in that space, in that third option window, to, especially if everybody's healthy, to have enough plays or enough things in the playbook to get that guy the ball. So I don't think whatever player they put there is not going to be productive. So don't go out there and waste capital for a player that you're not going to use. So I think this is a good move if they don't, go seek out a receiver or anything like that, unless it's just somebody that you can't pass up. And a Rashid, how do you say his name? Rashid Shaheed. I think a guy like that is going to be pretty much used the same way as our players are. So I don't think it makes any sense going to go get a slot receiver that, like you said, just run straight and then clear out routes. So I agree with you guys.
I would say the way that you could talk yourself into it, maybe their line of thinking would be that this is a IR stint, right? So he's going to be out for an extended period of time, a 4-game stretch. And you look at this 4-game stretch for the Rams, you've got the 49ers, you got the Buccaneers, you got the Seahawks, and then, of course, you got that Saints team. So you could get a look at Shaheed potentially. And what he does basically is similar things. You can run deep, you can run streaks, but can he do all the things that this team looks for in a receiver, which is block, which is be physical, which is be versatile? The answer is no, but he can do Tutu Atwell things. So if you're the Rams, kind of the one way to look at this is, do you want to have your offense limited in any capacity in this very critical 4-game stretch that's going to ultimately determine, are you going to win your division? Are you going to buy? Are you going to finish one of those top 2 seeds? Because this is where it gets real. I mean, talk about Halloween and all this stuff. When you brought that up, the only thing I started thinking of was I'm sad because football season is going by this fast, right? And then I'm also getting anxiety because this is when it gets the most intense and these games get real, and it starts to be like, you can't be like, it's just September, it's just this. No, it's almost November, right? And that's when championships are the building blocks for championships feel like they're really won. But I think that if you're the Rams, that would be kind of the ultimate thing is, We don't want to be limited anyway because of what Tutu does for this offense. We did mention Mumfield. Mumfield can do a lot of those things. He's not as fast as Tutu, just like end-to-end speed. Can get off the line, can run deep. And I think really what this opens up, it should open up Terrence Ferguson and possibly some 12 and 13 personnel and let you be creative from that standpoint. So it'll be interesting because I wouldn't put it past them. I really wouldn't, just because of the teams that they have ahead and the fact that, look, this team, they don't want to have to chase at the end. They don't want to have to be in a position where you have to play in the wild card round. I think this team really thinks they have a defense that could be special. These are the best defense they had since 2014, since 2001, as far as overall production, and then an offense that I don't think even has came close to reaching its full potential. So I wouldn't be surprised they did something.
Yeah, I still wholeheartedly believe that Sean McVay wanted this to work with Tutu Atwell, but I don't even know if it's the player. I think it's more so the type of player, right? Like, obviously you spend a lot of draft capital on Tutu Atwell, but when you have him, when you have an Xavier Smith, when you have a Konate Mumfield, it just feels like he's been trying to kind of follow this trend in the NFL of having a Tyreek Hill type player, right? Like, think about all the teams that have swung and missed and trying to get a similar type of guy. I think the most obvious example is the Eagles, and remember Jalen Reagor, right? Like, that was like them trying to get their Tyreek Hill. It never worked out. It just feels like I'm like Rondell Moore or the Cardinals, right? Like, guys like that. Everyone wants suddenly the 5'9", 5'10" guy who's fast. And really, outside of Tyreek Hill, it hasn't worked out that well. Maybe Zay Flowers a little bit. It felt like Sean McVay tried to do it as well. It didn't work with Tutu. And I'm not saying we need to write it off like it's done, but it just kind of feels like, I don't know how much longer we can wait for that to click. It feels like the Jags game would have been a great opportunity with Puka out. He can't even play. Now the Saints game would be a great opportunity with it being a horrible team. He's not going to play, right? So it just kind of feels like the Tutu train. I know that DMAC had some stocks. I hope he sold them all before, it crashed to zero. It was a penny stock at this point, right? The Tutu train.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going down. And here's the thing: he's injured, right? I mean, the truth is, health is wealth, right? I mean, best ability is your availability, and if you're Sean McVay, you're just kind of shrugging your shoulders, like, we tried. He got injured. He's got to fly, So it's really kind of interesting to me because Tutu has really become one of the most polarizing players in recent memory for the Rams. And there's a lot of Rams fans that are bitter about the fact that you could have gone Creed Humphrey at that pick, and then he's turned out to be this great center for the Kansas City Chiefs. You'd have been a long-term solution at that position. And look, Tutu Atwell has not performed. And whether that's on Sean McVay, whether that's on Tutu Atwell, the reality is it just has not happened. And it doesn't feel like it ever is going to consistently happen for him as a Ram. It almost kind of feels a little Van Jefferson-like, right? Where it's like, okay, he's got that potential and you see it, but you don't fully realize it. But, I think the good thing is they're in a much better position they were last year, right? Last year you had Cooper Kupp, and he's struck. What?
I knew Brock was going to laugh. There it is. Yeah.
You're just in a better – the wide receiver room is in a much better position. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, I don't know why you guys are laughing, but the cup's not completely empty, but only a couple sips in that cup. Let's put it that way.
I like how, Brock and I, it's not like we've talked about this or anything, and yet we both thought the exact same thing when D-Mac said Cooper Kupp. We said, there it is. There's the shot. Right there. You knew there was going to be a dagger at some point.
Every time, bro.
Hey, man. I'm just trying to win Lombardis. You know what I'm saying?
But you're right. You're right. And it goes back to something Brock actually said like weeks ago, where he was like, man, we are spoiled that this is what we're complaining about. It's a trade deadline. The Rams have a great record. They're first in the division. And Gavin's over here whining about Tutu Atwell not being the greatest, early round pick of all time. Like, man, we got it great, right? You got two of the best receivers in the league. You got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. The defense is one of the best in the past couple of decades, like D-Mac just said. If Tutu doesn't work out, it's fine. Yet, it does, like D-Mac said, feel like the most polarizing thing that's happened around the Rams in a couple of years, because other than that, things have been pretty darn good over here, right? So I guess it's a good sign at the end of the day. It's a good sign. I think at the end of the day, if I had to choose, I would be more annoyed if they gave up a 4th or 5th round pick for a receiver, because in my opinion, I would just say, why didn't you, use 2/4 to go get a better corner, right? That would be why I would be upset about it. But hey, at the end of the day, I trust this front office. Like Brock says, this is a smart organization. And if they want to go spend a fifth on another speed demon, all I ask is that we actually use him. All right. That's all I ask. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the bye week. I know you might be wondering, why the heck are we talking about a bye week when we got a game coming up? But it does feel relevant for a team like this. Who's, maybe not the deepest team. You want to keep guys healthy. We've got a former NFL player on here. I'm curious what a bye week looks like under Sean McVay and what it probably looked like after a London trip for this Rams team and how it's going to affect this team going forward. So we'll get to that and we will make our predictions. We'll talk about the Saints and how the Rams can pick up another win after our break here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. We'll be right back. Now, on this Friday show, today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. Look, we love the NFL. Yes, we do. But the NBA is also back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Locked On Rams Squad Show is back. The Mob Squad. I'm Bad Bunny. He's a Cooper Cup hater, and he's former Rams legend.
Love Cooper
I'm
Cup.
kidding. D-Mac loves Cooper Cup. He worships him, and it's one of those things where you love a player so much that you just hated to see him near the end of his prime, right? That's what it is. I get it. We don't have Cooper Cup. We have Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. The question is if we need to go get a number 3 receiver. I say no. D-Mac, Brock, what's your final take on that before we move on?
I say no. I don't see the value in getting a third option if you're not going to use them. Simple.
I would say no in the hopes that Terrence Ferguson becomes that guy. I mean, that's where I'm at with that.
There you go. Well, glad we all agree there. I know D-Mac had some kind of questions that he wanted to throw out in terms of what Brock and I believe. We're teasing this bye week thing. I do want to ask Brock about that, but D-Mac, I know you wanted to fire away some questions at Brock and I.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, you look at the after the bye, like we talk about it, it's when it gets realer than real, and you really start to see how this league is shaping up. And I think the big question for the Rams is, are they really going to take that leap this year? I mean, last year it was won a division and you won a playoff game. Are you going to finish with a top 2 seed in the NFC? Because if the playoffs were going to start this week, the Rams would be the 6th seed in the NFC. They would have to travel to Tampa Bay to take on the Bucs. But over the second half of the season, the Rams are going to have a lot of opportunities to go up in the standings because of your opponents. They've only played 2 conference opponents and 1 division game. So over the next 10 weeks, all 10 are NFC opponents, and 5 of those are division games. So, I mean, 13-4, that's kind of the hope, something like that. But how high are you guys on the idea that they finish with a top 2 seed in the NFC?
I'll let Brock go.
It's definitely going to be on the back of the defense for the most part, and I just think if everybody can stay healthy, I think when it comes to winning in this league, it's all about obviously having a quarterback, but it's also about beating that injury bug, everybody getting healthy towards the end of the season, things of that nature. If you can have your starters in towards the end of the season, you got a good chance at going to the playoffs and making a run, especially if you have a team that's being productive. So if this team is healthy and stays productive on the back of the defense, because defense wins championships, I can see this team being one of the top 2 seeds in the NFC, just off the fact that everybody's going to start working together. I hopefully this piece in the back end, as far as being the cornerback, Mr. McCreary, I think that's his name.
The country singer, Roger McCreary.
McCreary, I hope he's the added piece to help this defense for perform because, like you said, we don't have any amazing, just athletes and players on our defense. But I think they play well together in this scheme. Shuley uses a blitz. He tries to play that game with the offensive coordinator. So if we can just play great, coverage in the back end, not give up any, no extra yardage and yak and things like that, I think this defense will be fine and we can go a long way.
See,
it's not going to be easy. I don't know. What do you think, Gavin?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is, I don't have everyone else's schedules ahead of me and everything. If you ask me, are the Rams one of the two best teams in the NFC? I don't think I'm ready to say that yet, right? I just feel like you have to have the Eagles there still because they're the defending champs and they feel like they're not even playing their best football and they're 6-2 and they beat us, right? Like, was that a fluke win for them a little bit? Did we choke? Yeah, but they beat us. They're not even at their best yet, right? I still think the Lions are that team. I know the defense is really questionable. I would be shocked if they didn't go acquire a guy or two on the back end, kind of like what we needed in the secondary. And I don't know about the Packers either. It feels like the Packers are a team that they're not impressive. They're kind of what teams were accusing the Rams of being the first couple of weeks. Like, they're never impressive in any football game. They just barely win, but they always win, right? Like, that Steelers win most recently was probably one of the more impressive wins they've had. And even that wasn't like, oh my God, this team's unbelievable. Jordan Love looked really good, which, is good for them. But I'm not ready to say they're one of the two best teams in the NFC right now. Do I think they can finish that? Absolutely. I think the schedule's actually not that rough at all. Think you're going to beat the Saints, not to spoil my prediction, but think you're going to beat the Saints. You're going to be motivated as heck going to San Francisco after what they did. You're never not going to be motivated against Seattle. And then if the Bucs are not healthy, which they aren't right now, that's a game that maybe you probably could have lost that you maybe end up winning. And then the schedule's really easy outside of the Lions game, in my opinion, to end the season. So schedule-wise, I think they could, but I'm going to say no to take the longest time to answer the question. I say no. Brock says yes. D-Mac, what do you say?
I think right now it's just such an unknown because, we're going to learn so much about this team in the next couple of weeks. I think I will just say yes, just with hopium. You know what I'm saying? Like, my heart says yes. My brain says I really, like, if I'm being honest, I need to see more. I do think this team has the potential to have a top 5 defense. And when you have a top 5 defense with an offense that still has a lot of room for growth, then you're doing something. And then think about this. If you don't have a mixed extra point against the 49ers, that you're playing for a field goal instead of a touchdown, you maybe win that game. If you don't have a couple blocks against the Eagles, we definitely would be saying yes, right? We definitely would be saying yes if this team was undefeated or they had one loss, right? So think about that. The losses that they did have are ones that you could really make a strong case that they lost that game versus they got beat bad or anything like that. So think about if those went their way, you would have to say that they would be in the driver's seat to finish with one of those top 2 seeds. But I'm very curious to see how this team handles all these matchups that are coming up. The Lions at home, the Buccaneers. There's not any juggernauts in the NFC, but when it's all said and done, the Rams will have played most of those top dogs that you're probably going to be facing, right? You're not outside the Green Bay Packers, but it's going to be a tough test. And I think that the good thing for the Rams is that they play their best football towards the second half and the end of the season, and that's when the schedule is going to get tougher. So I think that if it wouldn't be very Rams-like if you had a very front-loaded tough schedule and either you're playing 500 or even if you're doing well, you would think, okay, what really is the identity and how good is this team? We're going to know how good this team is in the next month. We really are going to have a very good idea about, are they pretenders? Are they contenders? Is the Matthew Stafford MVP campaign real? It has Devontae Adams really built that chemistry? Can Puka Nacua stay healthy? Is Roger McCreary the number 1 country artist in America other than Morgan Wallen? Like, has he kind of found a role? So, that's what makes this such an exciting part of the season, because we've watched every game, every minute, done all these shows, but I don't think we have a true understanding about how good or bad is this team. Is it as good as we think they are, or are we overrating them? Like, all those answers, all those questions are going to be answered pretty soon here.
Yeah, and especially the way the schedule ends, you play like a handful outside of the Lions, a handful of like slightly better than 500 teams. You know what I mean? Like, Atlanta's not great, but they're not average. Like they're slightly above average. In my opinion, I don't think I'm ready to put the Seahawks as elite yet. They're slightly above average in my opinion, right? Like those are the type of games that the Rams, if they're elite, they win all of those against the slightly above average teams. And then the question is, can they steal one against the Lions? Can they avoid an upset loss at home against the Bucs on Sunday Night Football? If they do that, then yes, this is one of the best teams in the NFL, period. But as long as you can handle business against those slightly over 500 teams, that's good enough to sneak in, to be one of the top 3 or 4 seeds in the NFC, win your division. And then it's just a couple coin flip games. Those haven't gone well in recent years, but why can't they go well this year? They very easily can. You got any more questions for us, D-Mac?
I do. All right. After the bye, towards the end of the season, will the strength of the Rams still be their defense, or will it shift to the offense? You would hope that offensive line play gets better. That I sound like a broken record. I feel like I'm like the CEO of the Terrence Ferguson fan club here, but will Terrence Ferguson emerge like we expect? And the receiving core, the running backs, and the running game really hasn't been great the last couple of weeks. Will that get back to a level that we expect? Or will the defense still be the backbone of this team? Because as it currently is, the Rams defense, they rank second in the NFL in EPA per play behind just the Houston Texans. The advanced numbers like them. The fact that, I mean, they're averaging around 16 points allowed, which is elite territory. But I still think when it comes to upside, they got an MVP level receiver, at least before the injury, an MVP level quarterback right now with Devontae Adams. I mean, I sort of think that by the end of the season, the Rams offense will be the strength, but I think that it's going to be close, so you're going to be in a good spot. But my hope is that the offense is going to improve tremendously towards the later stages of the season. But what say you, fellas?
I mean, I'm going to say defense still. And the only reason being kind of what Brock said, like corner is the roughest, position in sports because you only get shown when you get beat type of thing. I feel like us Rams fans, like we know how good the defense is. And yet for some reason in the back of our mind, we still are like a little overly critical. Like even me at the beginning of the show, I'm ranting about how we need to go get an elite corner. And then you reel off those stats, D-Mac. It's like, God dang, this defense is freaking amazing, right? Like, come on, like one of the best pass rushes in football, right? So I'm still going to go defense. I think pass rush is the most sticky thing in defense, if that makes sense. Like that's the most consistent thing is how talented your pass rushers are. Like that goes week over week, whether you're playing an elite offense or not. If you can get to the quarterback, you're going to win games, and we have that. Versus on offense, like we are a little bit inconsistent in terms of red zone efficiency, in terms of protecting Matthew Stafford, in terms of having a number 3 option. There's inconsistency there. There's not inconsistency on basically 85% of the defense. So I'll go there. And I feel like Brock's going to say defense too, right?
Oh, absolutely. I was going to just repeat myself what I said earlier, man. I think that, I think they're going to just be on the back of this defense. This is a young defense. That's what I love about this team is that they're having this success, obviously with an older quarterback, but for the most part, this is a young Rams team, and they've had a lot of success. So I want to see at the back end of this season where we say in the players' world, man, we gonna see who really love this game. This is winter time. It's gonna be some weather issues if you're not playing in SoFi, but you're playing away games in some weather, and you got to tackle a guy while you're cold and your bones shivering. We're going to see if you really love football. So I love this back end, part of the season where it gets cold. It's some mental things you got to get over when you're playing in this weather. So it's all about who really wants it. And, hopefully this Rams team, with the success they've had at such a young age, they pull through mentally throughout the season.
All right, Gavin, this might be a good opportunity to maybe transition to some Brock talk, some Brock on Rams. You mentioned that, like, who loves football? And I've heard it too. Like, there's guys that love football. There's guys that love being football players, right? Like the lifestyle, the money. Like how obvious is that from a player? Like, how easily can you smell that from guys? And kind of what are some traits that you can tell when it's, I'm not asking you to name names. I mean, feel free if you want, I'll probably go viral. But I mean, what are some kind of traits and things when you kind of smell that from a guy that you can kind of tell?
I mean, you just, guys don't want to hit the ground. You get all wet and you're gonna be cold, and it's just like you really see who's a prima donna and who really is about that life when it comes to the trenches, where it comes to hitting. Because a lot of guys don't like hitting while it's cold. You know what I mean? You hit it, it rattles your bones, it rattles your whole body. So man, you really see who loves this game towards the end of this season, and usually rookies are about to hit that rookie wall where you've been playing, all the way through November, and all you got is 2 more games left. Or now guys are used to the playoffs, but a lot of these rookies hit that wall. They have 17 games plus playoffs. So hey, you got to be mentally tough to get through the back end of this season. And I just feel like McVay and his staff have been there, done that. They know what's going on, what's happening, and how to get to the playoffs. So I just think this is a really good coach team. So I think that's what kind of puts us ahead. And while I feel like we can be one of the top 2 teams in the NFC at the end of the season.
I love to hear that. We're going to take our break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more with Brock about the bye week, about the Rams, about what it's like being under Sean McVay. And then we will get to the Saints game and what we think the Rams will do and what is expected to be a Rams victory. Do any of us feel worried about it? We'll get to that after our last break here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. Now, finally, today's show, it's brought to you by, yes, America's favorite sponsor, Rugiet. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support, and that's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. To get started, you just connect with a board-certified doctor, 100% online, no awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private. It's all handled by real doctors, and it's about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter. Visit RUGIET.com/LockedOnNFL to get 15% off your first order. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNFL. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNFL so they know we sent you. Rugiet, stop making excuses and start making moves. Back here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show, the Mob Squad, Big Brock, Big D-Mac, and myself. We're talking Rams football twice a week, as we always do. I know we were on a break with the bye week. We are back, and I want to ask Big Brock about this bye week under Sean McVay. What it's like, right? We don't get many opportunities to ask players who have been under this coaching staff what it's like. And I know you've been on other coaching staffs as well. So take me through. Obviously, it's unique coming off a London trip as well, but do you still do stuff with the team, during that bye week? Are you completely separated? Do you just have a week where you don't even text any of your teammates, or are you still around the building and just maybe not practicing as much? Are you practicing every day still? What is a bye week like under Sean McVay, and is it any different under other coaches as well? Oh, Brock, I think you fell victim to the mute bug there.
Oh, I did fall victim to the mute button. No, I just think it's all about when the bye week comes, and when it's set. Is it set on a holiday? Is it set in the middle of the season, the front end of the season, things like that? But because it was placed where there was no holiday, it's all about getting back with your family, obviously, for a couple of days. Then it's back to work. Obviously he's gonna ramp it up, starting with probably like a little jog through or something like that for the first day. First day and second day, and then, third day, you might have a hard practice. Then you get to go back with your family for maybe a couple of days. Then you're coming back, Sunday or Monday to start practice like a regular week. So I love the fact that he gives you opportunities to spend time with your family, even though you are getting, some work, and there's maybe a couple of practices in the morning. Just really jog through things. He always talked about above the neck approach, which is just a mental approach, what we're planning to do let's just jog through the motions, things like that, run through the plays, so we know the game plan. And we're practicing on a game plan, for 2 weeks going into this next game. So I think it's just all about, getting your guys ramped up, not letting them get cold and stiff throughout the bye week. So I love his approach. It's all about, the mental approach. Obviously, you're out there working, and I mean, you're working for this money, so might as well put in a little sweat, sweat and tears on the field. So I think I love his approach because it's very strategic. It's all about ramping the guys up, getting them ready to play after the bye week. So it's never just we're going to do 2 a day, just because we have the opportunity. It's all about, what's the plan moving forward and how can we best, do that efficiently.
Yeah, and it's a real thing, right? Like I feel like maybe sometimes fans, you nerd out a little bit too much. Like I've watched shows where people freak out if their bye week is week 7 and not week 9, and oh my God, we have such a disadvantage. But there is something to be said about, like, the good teams are the ones that they always win the week after the bye week, right? Or they always have a better record after the bye than before. And I'm sure it's those little things. And again, it feels great waking up every morning knowing we have one of the best leaders in the sport, and that I don't know anything about a Sean McVay bye week, but I knew that Brock was going to say that Sean McVay does bye weeks well, right? Because he just does most things well and better than most coaches, right? So it hopefully will make a difference. Like D-Mac was saying, interesting part of the schedule, 4 tough games in a row. If you can win at least 3 of those 4 coming off the bye week, get everyone still healthy, knock on wood, then you go make a run, right? Brock, do you ever notice the difference if it's an early bye week or a later bye week on your body? Like, is it harder if you have a bye week in week 7 versus week 10 in terms of recovery or anything like that? Or again, is it grow up and be a man, you're a football player, you should be fine regardless?
Obviously, you want it towards the back end of the season. You really do, because you almost rather like split the season in half. Maybe you got 8 games, you get in the middle of the season, they got another 8 to 9 games after that. But because when you're looking at it, you get an early bye week. You're looking at that schedule like, geez, we got 13 games in a row, like with Thursday games and in between that. So you're like, man, we got 13 in a row. So it's all about, having strategic planning on how we can get that bye week towards the back end of the season. So, hopefully we're getting guys healthy throughout the season, and towards the back end of the season, all your guys are healthy, ready to play in the playoffs.
Yeah. And hopefully we can have a kind of secondary mini bye week this Sunday against the Saints, because obviously you have one of the easier opponents in the NFL, in the Saints, and now you're getting the dream scenario. You're playing a bad team with a rookie quarterback making his first official start, and he's going to have no time to throw because you have one of the best front fours in the NFL. It just feels like, if you're, on the Saints side, it feels like a foolish decision. You're leaving your rookie quarterback out to dry. If you're a Rams fan, you're like, oh, this is wonderful. Like, this guy's going to be, what was it with Sam Darnold, seeing ghosts? Like, he's going to be seeing ghosts all game. He's going to be terrified that first time he takes a hit from Jared Verse, he's going to be like, oh my goodness, right? And so hopefully it is a little mini bye week. D-Mac, we'll start with you on the prediction front. Rams, big-time favorites. Actually, I need to pull up the spread because, again, humble reminder that I am still winning our competition in terms of picking the wins and losses against the spread as well. But we all 3 of us hit it 2 weeks ago. We all picked the Rams to win and cover the spread against the Jags, and they did that. Now, with this game, Rams-Saints, the spread is 9.5. Rams almost favored by double digits. Do the Rams win? Do they cover, D-Mac?
Yeah, I think, you would hope going against a rookie quarterback and Tyler Shuck going at SoFi Stadium. They dealt with some injuries. I think 27-10, because I think you'll be comfortable to want to continue to reestablish that run game, and you're not going to run the score up as much. So I think a 27-10, but like a dominating 27-10, if that. I really think this is a focused Rams team that is going to be about their business. They're, I think, going to be as healthy as they've been. Matthew Stafford's been hot. Puka Nakua's back. They started to score points in bunches against the Jaguars. Like, there's no reason not to mess this team up, to not go out there and impose your will. So, I mean, I think 27-10, it may be a little conservative just because you put up over 30 against the Jaguars in London. So you think with Puka back and the Devonta Adams chemistry building that maybe you could get over 30. But I just think that you're going to see a better showing from the run game in this one that will bleed some clock, and it'll be a nice, comfortable, dominating 27-10 win over the Aints. I mean, check that, the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, in terms of the Saints are kind of an interesting team because everyone came into the year saying they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. And sure, they have one win, but they've actually looked a little more competent than other awful teams, right? Like they haven't had the Cam Ward dropping the ball in the end zone moments. They haven't had the Jets throwing for 45 yards in a game, Justin Fields moments. Like they've been awful, but a little more respectable awful, right? Now, Spencer Rattler, I actually think he's not terrible. He makes a lot of mistakes, though. I think Tyler Shuck is going to be very conservative, and that might keep this game close. But Brock, Shuck, Tuck, words that rhyme with it, Rams in 5 or whatever the joke, right? The Rams are going to win this game by 20 points, regardless of who's playing quarterback, right?
No, absolutely. I'm gonna use a move that they used to use on The Price is Right. I'm gonna come in just a little bit below Doug with a 24-10 victory for the Rams. I said the same thing, man. I don't see them trying to run up the score, but I definitely see them trying to establish this run game, see what it's really about, and truly dominate the opponent and get out of there as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Brock got me one to stay home from school tomorrow and watch The Price is Right and Jerry Springer. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the move. And I always want to spin that wheel, man.
Yeah, I'm about to age myself out here, but I've never watched a single episode of Price is Right in my life. So
yeah, Brock knows the vibes. Price is Right was that show.
No, I trust you. I trust you. Absolutely. I'll keep it simple. I'm not going to do my whole, it's going to go this way, but psych. Look, the Rams are going to kill the Saints. And if they don't, I'll be shocked. I think, it's the NFL, so it's hard to have spreads over 10, but this is a game where if the Rams don't win by 10 points, it's because they were up 28 and then they took out starters and the Saints came back. I really don't see a scenario where the Saints score 17 points, and I don't see a scenario where they hold the Rams to less than 27, right? So I'm going to say I'm hoping the offense kind of explodes a little bit. I hope they don't take their foot off the gas. I'm going to say 30-14. I'm going with a big-time win. A bunch of field goals, hopefully, to have Josh McCarty feeling a little bit better about himself. Would love special teams to have a good performance for once. I'm going to go 30-14, an absolute bloodbath in SoFi Stadium, which apparently, D-Mac, might be the future stadium of the UCLA Bruins. I don't know if you saw that, but
it's funny. We always think of some college football talk here. I have no idea what I was doing there, but I was at the LSU message board, and there was a post saying that LSU should go after Sean McVay as their head coach. I mean, come on. I know LSU is a marquee program and one of the best in the SEC, one of the best in the country, but come on, Sean McVay. It's like when Mike Tomlin got pissed a couple years ago when they asked about the USC job.
Yeah.
He's not going to any college job ever, never.
I don't know.
Right.
Was that Michael Brockers on that board, the message board?
Oh, yeah. Was that Brockers' burner?
Yeah, was that his burner?
Right. No, not me.
Oh man! Hey,
no, but the Rams could go to SoFi, man. I mean, the UCLA. Is that a real thing?
Apparently, Pasadena's trying to sue the school for thinking about it. So it clearly means they were thinking about it. I hate the drive. I don't live down there anymore, but I was there as of 2 months ago. I absolutely hate the drive from West LA to the Rose Bowl.
But could you tailgate there like that?
Not at SoFi. I don't think you can. So that's why, even though I hate that drive more than anything, I would still rather make that drive and be in the Rose Bowl than make a drive that's 10, 15 minutes shorter. They act like you're going from the Rose Bowl 3 hours away to SoFi 5 minutes away. No, it's like an hour drive to the Rose Bowl to, a 30-minute drive, 35, 40-minute drive to SoFi. Like, it's not that much shorter. Stay in the Rose Bowl, get a head coach, go Bruins. Sorry, Brock. Hopefully LSU finds a coach
I'm
too.
Rolling up if they become a top 10 team. So you can play at SoFi, the Rose Bowl, at Pasadena High School, bro. Drake Stadium. I'm only rolling up if you can be a top 10 team. So that's how you get me in the stands. So you know what I mean, like
high standards. He sounds like Brock. He sounds like LSU. He sounds like an LSU fan. Those are high standards.
Right.
Brock, who's going to be the coach of the LSU Tigers, man? Who do you want?
Man, I don't know, man. I don't know. Brian Kelly might be the next coach of UCLA. So good luck.
No, I don't want that. Based on everything I'm seeing on Twitter, oh my! You know how there's usually debates in sports. This feels like the only time where there's not any debate. Like 99.99, like no one in this world, in this country, can agree on anything except everybody seems to agree that Brian Kelly is horrible. Like that's all I seem to see on Twitter.
That's sad.
Like, right? Like nothing is agreed on, and then everyone is just dogpiling on Brian Kelly. So just based on that alone, I'd like to stay away personally. But once again, Rams, we have a good life. We have a good coach. We have a good team, and we should get a good win on Sunday. Have a great holiday or Halloween weekend. Not quite a holiday weekend. Have a nice Halloween weekend. I won't be rooting for the Dodgers, unlike 99% of the people watching this show. So sorry, D-Mac. Sorry, Dodger Nation. And with that,
oh my God.
Hey, how about this? If the Saints beat the Rams, you have to put the Bad Bunny nose ring for the postcast. Put it on record. How confident are you?
What do I get in return? I'll do it in return. If the Rams win, D-Mac has to do something related to Cooper Kupp, and then we got a deal.
Right. He has to talk
he's a top 100 receiver, man. He's a top 100 receiver. Right? I love him as Cooper Kupp.
I love it. All right. Well, whose house? Rams house. Whose squad? Rams squad. The Mob squad. We'll be back. Don't forget. I hope you didn't forget after one bye a week. We are back after every single game live. So make sure you tune in live after the game, hopefully after a win. Take care and go Rams, baby. Let's get it done.